Being a small operation means that there's some types of advice that are just never going to serve you well. And volume strategies come to mind here: more, bigger, faster. But being small also means that you bring a really unique set of abilities and opportunities to the table. And this is where I want to focus, making the most of what you do different, not trying to make you like everyone else. As a small shop, leaning into your personality is the best tool you have for standing out in a noisy marketplace, building a memorable brand, and creating marketing that draws your audience in instead of just selling them on something. And the biggest piece of your personality is your purpose. Why do you care? Why do you do the work you do? What difference, big or small, do you hope to create in someone's life? And your purpose is really personal. Think back to lesson 1 where we talked about the tree. What we're building here is the roots, the part of the tree that's underground and out of sight. And this is not something that you're ever going to tell your customers or your audience directly, but it's going to inform everything else that you do. And because your purpose is not public, you're free to keep qualifiers off of what you do. And when I say small shop, all I mean is that you're a small operation. Maybe you're a small business or a solopreneur, but you can also be a maker or an artist who wants the creative freedom that comes with directly going to their audience. Or maybe you're an activist or a nonprofit. These lessons are thoughtfully designed to be valuable to all of you, but that also means that there are a lot of different types of purposes. A nonprofit might be trying to end period poverty, while a small business might exist to bring joy and connection through food in a relaxed environment. And so here's what I mean by keeping qualifiers off of what you do. No matter what your purpose is, it's enough. As long as you genuinely care and are committed to the work. There is no value that comes from comparison. We need all of these things in our lives. And more than anything, we need people who genuinely care. This branding class is about you and who you are serving. That's it. It's not about deciding if what you do is big enough to be called a purpose. Does that make sense? So for our lesson, we're going to say that all heartfelt purposes are objectively equal, no matter how big or how small. And the goal here is really to be able to say your purpose simply and to feel it deeply. And when you do this, you're going to have effectively given yourself a one-of-a-kind compass. So when we talk about not looking at the competition, you're going to be able to come back to your compass, to your purpose, and decide whether it's something that's the right fit for you. Whether that's a new opportunity, a new product or service, or deciding if it's time to hire. And if you haven't yet, now's a really good time to go download the free worksheet that goes along with this class. The first set of exercises are dedicated to walking you through digging down to your own specific purpose. And I'm really excited to see what you come up with, so please feel free to share. At the start of the last section, I said that leaning into your personality is the best tool you have for standing out. And then we talked about the biggest piece of that equation, your purpose. Having a clear, compelling purpose, it's invaluable, but it's not the whole picture either. Think about it. An amazing purpose can pull at the heartstrings, maybe even spur action, but it's not necessarily why you stick around why you open email after email, why you look forward to checking in, maybe you even share it with someone else. It's all of the other little things that work in concert with your purpose that really bring it to life. You are a completely unique individual. You have this clear purpose, which I love, but you also bring all of these little interests and talents and tastes to the table. Purpose is really important, but to make it powerful, it needs those complementary pieces. Otherwise, it just is not as compelling. And it's really interesting to note that the inverse is also true. Lots of tidbits of personality without that coalescing force of purpose is also going to fall short. And let's give some examples here, because examples tend to illustrate the point more clearly, and they can also spark ideas. So let's say you're running a nonprofit, but you're also interested in photography. Maybe it's even a hobby of yours. In that case, a way to bring some genuine personality to the table would be to include Polaroids. Maybe Polaroids from an event or from a community service project. You could use them in a thank you email. You could put them on your website. And voila, not just purpose, but personality. A real life example that I love is Yogi Teas. The purpose of the company is to provide high quality organic teas that aid your wellness journey and support the communities where the tea is grown. But they add personality by putting a little bit of wisdom on every tea bag. That has nothing to do with the quality of the tea, but it's something unique and genuine that they bring to the table that adds just a little bit of extra depth. It endears me to their brand. And these extra little facets of personality are powerful when it comes to building a one-of-a-kind brand. A brand that keeps people coming back to you, which is why we're going to come back to this in lessons 3 and 4. And so between now and then, just pay attention. Be on the lookout for little things that sound fun to incorporate into the brand that you are building. Sustainable growth is something else we've touched on in lesson 1 already. And often when people are growing their brand, they find themselves in an unsustainable hustle. They're trying lots of things. Some of them are working and they're just spending too much time and still barely staying on top of everything. And tell yourself what you want, but this is not a hustle to be admired. And eventually it will lead to burnout. So think back to our tree analogy. When the roots are strong, the branches and leaves can flourish. And when these branches and leaves are strong and when they can take in enough sunshine, it's going to allow the roots to grow deeper. It's a cycle of flourishing. It's natural growth. It's the type of pace we want to emulate because you can keep it up for not just years, but for decades. As a species, we are meant to do work, having an effect on the world around us, spending our time and energy on things that matter to us. These are a part of that core, meaningful human experience. So the goal is not to hurry up and be done working. The goal is to work in a calmer way. Less hustle, more peace. Less comparison, more meaning. And this is a big part of why I serve small shops. If people are stuck in jobs that don't bring them joy, or in some cases are downright slowly killing them, I want you to have the tools to step out, to make your own way on your own terms. But no one can define meaning for you. This is something you have to do for yourself. Similar to how a purpose is the compass, Without it, you're at the mercy of external influences. The same is true of your success list. You need to know your own goals, what you're aiming at, and why. Otherwise, the world is going to be only too eager to define success for you. Aristotle gave us the idea of the telos, the idea that everything has an end goal. What is the ultimate intent or aim? What is the final end? And this applies to everything. The purpose of a pen is to write, and the purpose of humankind, I believe, is to work, and not just earning, but building, creating, making things, contributing. To what? Well, only you can decide what the telos of your life is. And others can share in that journey, but no one can walk this path for you. Which is why the next section on the worksheet is devoted to building out your own success list. It starts with a brainstorm before whittling down that list to a few key success indicators. What is the best part of your day? What makes you feel successful at work? What makes you feel successful in your personal life? When do you feel most calm and most centered? What are the most important things in your life? How are you showing up and being present for all of these other parts of yourself? And this really has the power to free you from the chase. Knowing the telos of your work, of your life, it gives you clarity. For most of us, it's not just about income. And yes, I want you to thrive. I want you to have your needs met. I want you to be sustainable, to be off of redline. But financial redline is not the only type of redline we face. And knowing your telos means understanding that it's not just what you do, but how you do it. It's not just making a living, but being able to live your life while you're doing it. I love old wisdom, the idea that something can be as profound and true today as when it was written. In the case of the Stoics, these works are over 2,000 years old. And I'm going to leave you with a quote from one of my favorites, Marcus Aurelius. It's from Meditations, Book 6, number 16, if you want to go look it up yourself. Here's the quote. What is it in ourselves that we should prize? I think it's this, to do what we were designed for. That's the goal of all trades, all arts. It's what each of them aims at. The thing they create should do what it is designed to do. So that is what we should prize. Hold on to that, and you won't be tempted to aim at anything else.